Guys, so much for coming on.
Thank you.
So first, let's just start easy. What is Rock of Ages?
You know, I would probably say it's kind of a love letter to the 80s,
Okay.
if you could encapsulate it. It's, you know, it tells this kind of classic tale of a young guy who falls in love with a waitress, and he's a bar back at the bar, and meanwhile this bar is about to be shut down by evil German business developers who want to make frozen yogurt shops. So, you know, it has all of those great 80s stereotypes. Yeah. The mullets, the big hair, and it's just a great excuse to rock out with some 80s music.
Yeah.
Totally.
So something I didn't do when you guys came in was introduce you guys. So I'll let you do my job for me.
Sure.
Why don't you introduce who you are and what role you're playing in the show?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My name's Olivia Bayette, and I'll be playing Sherry Christian. She's the female ingenue. She's the waitress that Barrett spoke of.
Perfect.
And I am, my name is Barrett Harper, and I play Lonnie Barnett, who's the narrator of the show as well as the sound guy at the bar. So he kind of plays a dual role.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what are some of those songs that audiences get to hear?
I sing Heart in My Heart, originally sung by Tiffany, and with the sax solo and all the 80s fabulousness. We also sing Journey and
Don't Stop
White
Believin'.
Snake, all kinds of good stuff.
So many great songs. There's a million, and there's even more, and even the instrumentals and the transitions. I mean, the list is staggering.
Yeah.
We really pack in the hits from White Snake, Styx,
Very
everything
cool.
you can imagine.
And I know the show hasn't started yet, but what are you guys looking most forward to?
You know, I've worked at BDT for a really long time, and this is my first opportunity to kind of be in a bigger role and do something a little different.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled. The ladies have already started working on our pole dancing skills because there's a stripper sequence. So I got to learn those new skills, and I'm just excited for the challenge. Absolutely.
You know, I adore this show. This will be the third time I've done it, and every time that I do it, I discover some new funny bit. It's just a brilliantly written show. It doesn't try to be anything more than it is. And like living your 80s dreams. I mean, that's really all you want to do is just drink Jack and live your life, right? And that's what you do here at this show.
Exactly. I love it. So talk more about the pole dancing.
All of the female ensemble in the end of the first act, the waitress kind of gets down on her luck and becomes a stripper. Yeah. And so there's a whole sequence. It's the song that plays is Any Way You Want It. And it's all these strippers just kind of showing their moves and doing this stuff. So we all got to go to this awesome place called Vertical Fusion in Boulder. And we got to learn how to pole dance and climb the pole and slide down the pole and do all these fun tricks and hair flips and body rolls and all kinds of fun stuff.
So now you have a different day job, if anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, if this doesn't work out, then I'm set.
You got other skill sets now.
Exactly.
And this being your third time in the show, what were the other? Have you done the same role all the time?
No, actually, you know, the last two times I played a different role, and this time I got the chance to do something a little different.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. So, you know, I think this show is so great, and every character has so much love for the 80s, and so I'm really excited to look at it in a new perspective.
And I love that. So do you think people are going to be singing in the audience along with it?
We hope so.
Yeah, if they're not singing in the audience, we're not doing our job.
Absolutely.
Right?
I hope they all bring their lighters and
Everyone's
live
just
their
having
dreams.
exactly. It's just a concert. It's a good time, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Nothing but a good time.
We also
there it is.
We also have the fantastic director with us today, Mr. Scott Bayette. So please welcome Scott Bayette.
How are you? See you good. It's good to see you. Thank you. Hey guys.
So Scott, tell us a little bit, as the director, what are you trying to do with the show?
What I love about this piece, beyond the 80s music, which is from my era, graduated high school in '83, so this is all the music that I grew up with. So I love that. But what I love about the show is that it really unabashedly mocks itself and that time period. And there's so many wonderful little nuggets and moments in the show that are pure comedy and really making fun of all of it. And I'm so excited to get going with that part of it because I just think we're going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
And then what I really want to do with the show is kind of have it be these little kind of move in and out of these little music video moments. You know, MTV really got its start in the beginning of the 80s. I remember HBO had a video jukebox that they would play little music videos between their movies, and that's kind of what inspired the music television. So we're going to have such a great time with it.
I think so. And someone who's worked at BDT for a long time now, what is this show like compared to the other shows you guys have done?
You know, it's, I feel that every show really has its own life and its own charm. This show, not that we haven't done other rock musicals before, but the band is going to be on stage, and the band actually is a part of the show and has lines and moments. There's a guitar battle that happens, and I just think that in terms of the music and that rock sound, this is going to be something new for us. And I know that our music director is excited about it. He's from my era as well. So
you guys are getting to live out those songs you saw
absolutely,
on MTV.
yeah.
Do you guys have any favorite 80s iconic scenes or moments or anything?
From the show itself?
Or just from the 80s in general?
Just from the 80s?
Yeah.
Well, you were alive then, one of you.
I actually right out of college. So I graduated high school in '83, college in '87, and one of my first performing jobs was touring with a top 40 show band.
Okay.
And we toured up and down the East Coast, and so I was rocking the 80s mullet hair, and it wasn't really the kind of performing that I love doing, but it was an experience for sure. I got a lot of great stories about it. So,
any other iconic 80s moments? I know you guys weren't alive.
I mean, you know, I was alive for about 8 months of the 80s. So
looking back, though,
you know, there's that.
I think we all have those like iconic 80 moments in our minds. What are those for you
Totally.
guys?
I just think like the big hair.
The big hair, yeah.
And you know, as I've been preparing for the show and listening to all this music, it's just, people just finally kind of broke out of trying to be discreet about any of it, and they're like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and this is what it is, and just with glam bands and you know, just metal and all kinds of fun like that.
It's so unabashed and so unapologetic.
Exactly.
You know, it's just, this is who we are, and we're going to rock our faces off, and we hope you join us.
Yeah.
And I love that energy.
Yep, and that's what the show is as well.
Absolutely.
And so let's just take a quick moment and talk about the choreography a little bit, because obviously Joseph just finished a lot of choreography, just won a Henry Award for that. So what's the choreography going to be like for this show?
Well, our choreographer, Michaela Marceau, she actually, she almost got into the show on Broadway. She went through several callbacks. She's very tall, and I think that worked against her a little bit. But this is the first show that she's choreographed for us, and she's very excited. She's got a great energy, and I know there's going to be some of the pole dancing stuff, but she's also, she's got a lot of the, you know, head whipping and all of that, you know, body rolls and
head banging and like that kind of like sex kitten crawling on the ground, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That
you
all
know,
just fits right in.
it's not a show like Chorus Line or these shows where very classical dance, right? It's these people rocking out at a bar, so you don't want to make it so anachronistic in that way.
Exactly.
So just making it the kinds of moves that you would see at concerts and things, that's the kind of thing I think that was the base for what she's going for. And then obviously when the strippers come in and all of that stuff, then they have their whole set of their whole world as well, and we want to make sure to communicate that transition.
Exactly. And my last question for you guys is, why should people come see Rock of Ages at BDT Stage?
Well, one of my favorite shows that I've done so far at BDT Stage is the Buddy Holly story. And the best thing about it was that it was just this 1950s rock concert at the end of the show, and everybody got up and partied and just had this great time. And as a performer, I think that's why we do what we do, is to take people away and let them experience something else. And with that show, it was only 40 minutes. But this show, it's really the whole time, and it's so much fun, and we're gonna have shots on the menu and PBR, and like, it's gonna be just a really awesome, fun time.
Perfect.
Yeah, we let audiences kind of relive experiences that they had in the 80s, and you know, the music is such an important part of our history, and it makes us remember all of these great stories and great times. And so hopefully, you know, with the show, we're transporting you back to a simpler time where we had less responsibility and less think about it, and it was much more about like the energy and the party, and you know, ultimately I think that's what people want, is a little bit of escape, and that's what we're providing.
I think so.
Yeah, if you miss the 80s or there's something that you love about the 80s, you got to see this show because it's a rockin' good time.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks a
Absolutely.
lot.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
of course. So you guys heard it. If you missed the 80s or you weren't alive in the 80s, better get on down to BDT Stage to check out Rock of Ages.